The art of carrying. Carrying means to put a team on your back and to carry them to the promised land. But instead of sports, let's talk about movies. And in this case, we talking about Maze Runner. Okay, the Maze Runner is a 2014 dystopian sci-fi film that was based on a 2009 novel. Now, how does one carry in a movie about mazes? Let's talk about it. The start. So let's meet our boy Thomas, okay? So at the start of the movie, we see a guy coming up this makeshift elevator while also being harassed by whatever this creature is. We're not even going to get into that. This is our boy Thomas. But once he gets to the top, he's realized it's a bunch of peasants looking over him. Looks like that one meme. He tries to escape, but then realizes his ultimate doom. He's trapped in this big ass box. So because he has nothing else to do and he can do absolutely nothing, he settles into the camp. And then a random guy by the name of Albie, who's the leader, gives him a tour of the camp, basically telling him what's going on, what is this, and what we got going on. Thomas clearly sees a fat maze, a fat square, doesn't know what it is, so he gets curious about it, and once he goes up into it, or close enough to it, he gets violated by this 10-10 looking ass nigga. Keep in mind, they don't even know each other, and you pushing me off the bat. What's wrong with you? Basically, this is the maze, hence Maze Runner, and only a select few gets to run this maze. Yes, they have people actively running this maze because it's super dangerous, and they're trying to find a way to escape. Literally, there's only 2 runners that's running it, but I'm pretty sure there's more of them that has died because of how crazy and dangerous this maze is. After a while, he finally remembered his name, so the camp starts calling him Thomas. Luckily for me though, I watched the movie and I already knew it. They had to wait, I didn't. Now this right here is the settle in. This is where the carry begins. So once Thomas finally settled into his new home, they ask him to start doing more tasks to get stuff finished around the camp. So he goes into the woods to do some hunting and gathering, I guess. He gets chased by this dude by the name of Ben, who is a former runner, but apparently he's been stung. So like I said, the maze is super dangerous and you could get stung by things called the grievers. We're gonna get more into those later. So he's been stung and it basically turned him into a makeshift zombie. So for the protection of the camp, Albie had to banish him and pushed him into the abyss of the maze. Albie realizes that was pretty fucked up with what he done, so he goes back for Ben with Mino. Thomas and friends, they start waiting by the maze so they can see when Albie, Ben, and Mino comes back. They did see Albie and Mino together, but realize Albie is hurt. They not gonna make it before the maze closes. So Thomas, with his brilliant idea, he decides, fuck it, I'm gonna step into the maze. I don't know why, don't ask me. After the stupid decision, they have to survive the night in the maze. Now this is when it gets really dangerous because the maze is closed and the maze constantly changes. First of all, imagine a big ass maze you have to get out of. It's not like a normal maze, right? A big ass maze you have to get out of and it constantly changes. So whatever you remember from the other day is different. Pretty insane to me, honestly. I don't know if that's what they meant, but that's how I'm gonna take it. So they start getting chased by this griever, but Thomas actually uses his thinking cap for once, decides to have a brilliant idea and a brilliant play. I don't know if he drew this up on a chalkboard or whatever, but it's super smart. The griever started chasing Thomas. He did a couple of parkour to get away from him, and then they find a changing part of the maze. So the maze closes and shit. The closing part of the maze can close on the griever. Thomas made it out, the griever didn't. Thomas gets praised for this because this is the first time in camp history where a griever has actually been killed. So this is where the shift begins for real, where Gally versus Thomas is really starting to happen. So Gally, he wants Thomas punished for his actions, the things that he has done and the things that he has caused. In my opinion, just dry, clear hating. He can see all the praise and love that Thomas is getting and clearly doesn't want Thomas to get any of that. So he like, fuck it, we gotta punish you for your actions. So Newt made Thomas a runner to avoid future punishments because remember, Thomas wasn't a runner and he wasn't supposed to be doing all that shit that he was doing in the first place. So now they made him a runner so future punishments won't happen, okay? And then we get a new character arriving to the villa. Her name is Teresa. Now her introduction to the show, I kind of want to rant a bit, or show to the movie, I kind of want to rant a bit. It was kind of weird and off-putting because I feel like they just threw her into the middle of the story, but I feel like she's gonna be more important in the next movie. But for this movie, she really didn't offer nothing besides these 2 syringes though, which are very important. But I feel like that's why they used her. But then again, the syringes that was used to help someone, they died in the next few minutes. So it's like come on, she was just a throw-in character. They could have introduced her in the second movie. But Thomas greets Teresa and they decide to talk, basically getting an introduction of her and just to explain what's really going on in this camp. So then Thomas and Mino decide to do more research in the maze. They go to like the edge of the maze and they kind of find, I guess you could say, an escape, or at least what they think is an escape. And after finding out more info, Gally confronts Thomas, and this is where we see the infamous clip.
Thomas doesn't know what he's done, as usual. Well, at least I did something. What have you done, huh? Aside from hide behind these walls all the time. I'll tell you something, Greenie. You've been here 3 days, all right? I've been here 3 years. Yeah, you've been here 3 years, and you're still here, Gally.
Now, like I said, this is where the shift happens. This is where the carry happens. And this is where Gally really pointed it out. Thomas has only been here for 3 days, and he's trying to make movements. He's trying to make things happen because he doesn't want to be here. Gally, on the other hand, has accepted being here and has realized he don't think it can get any better than this. So Gally has said, fuck it. We're living. We're okay. We're good. Eventually, we want to escape, but 3 years, it's like, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, maybe this is just my life. Thomas, his Stockholm Syndrome hasn't kicked in yet because he's only been there for 3 days. He's like, nah, my nigga, I want out. Maybe if it would have been like a month or two, he would have started leading into the acceptance of, okay, fuck, this is my life. But he's only been there for 3 days, so his drive was much more compared to Gally's. So this comment right here really stunted Gally. I mean, ultimately changing his whole path for the rest of this movie. I'm not even kidding, and you'll get to see why. And then where the Thomas carry really happens, okay? So after all the work Thomas and Mino did, they get invaded by grievers, okay? They get invaded by a bunch of grievers because the maze wasn't closing for some odd reason, but they hold them off. Once again, back to Gally hating ass. He wants to banish Teresa and Thomas. Once Dave arrived, a lot of problems started showing up at the camp, and one of the biggest ones is people getting bit, and then, like I said, the grievers invading them and shit. So he like, oh nah, I'm not jacking this. So Thomas makes a plan to make sure that they don't get banished in the way that Gally wants them to get banished, right? But the plan worked, and Thomas recruited more people on his journey to escape. After getting to the door, they make it through and get to a room with information and learns about the current situation of what's going on. Basically apocalyptic. Should have already known, depending on where these niggas was. World that we know it's not our world. The shit is ass, it's garbage. It's not the world that we know of. Completely done. It kind of reminded me of Dune, or Dune reminds me of that, I guess you could say. It's cooked though. It's cooked. But the thing is, Gally actually followed them because I guess he realized, damn, maybe I should have went with them. So now he all mad because they left him. How you mad because they left? You mad because they left and they didn't listen to you. So he pulled up with the blick, you feel me? He aims at Thomas, shoots at Thomas, but a kid jumped in front of the bullet with his dumb ass. I don't know why this little kid jumped in front of the bullet. And luckily Mino threw a spear at him, but the bullet already hit the kid and the kid passes away, and then they get escorted by some type of militia group.